Leon's my guy. I love him, man. You know. You got any Leon Muhammad stories for me?
No, I ain't got no Leon Muhammad stories.
Did you ever work with him in boxing?
Nope.
Okay. So
Never.
You made sure you kept your money.
No, it wasn't at the point of even me keeping my money. It was just the point that we never crossed paths. I mean, we always seen each other, this, that, and other, but I never crossed paths. And I was the type of dude, when I fought, my manager was Eddie Woods. He took care of everything. All I needed to worry about was when I was fighting and the date. I didn't care who I was fighting. I could have been fighting King Kong. I just knew I had to fight him on September the 15th. I had to get in the gym and be ready for September the 15th. That's just what it was with me. That's the difference between me and I think me and a lot of guys nowadays that are fighters. You know, I understand that you pretty much should be wondering who you fighting. But I mean, the guy's in there with two hands just like you. Evidently he can fight like you, and he may have a little more class than you, but I was just the type of kid, I didn't care, man. I came from a great background. My dad brought me up good. You know, I'm from North Philly, nice town section, you know, a nice family home, two brothers, mom and dad, and boxing was my life.
How'd you get started off in boxing?
My dad said I used to go around hitting his hands a lot, so, you know, he built me a basement in the gym. I mean, he built me a gym in the basement, had a bag, nice little floor that was mapped out like a ring. I went down there, trained, jump rope, hit the bag, exercise. I did that for about, well, I was doing that from like 3 to about 4. Then back then, I'm talking about like the early 70s, he took me to the gym when I turned 5. And I went to the gym, messed around, hit the bag, ran out the gym, played, because my grandma lived right down the street, so I could walk to my grandma's house from the gym. So on the way to the gym, I used to play in the park, because we used to train in the downstairs in the church, and the church was like in a playground. So, you know, I used to go in the basement, hit the bags and stuff, go in the ring, shadow box, go out, go upstairs, go to the park, run around, go back downstairs. About 6 or 7, my dad let me start sparring people. I think I had my first amateur fight when I was like about 8 or 9. But before that, it was a guy in the gym named Eddie Goodman. He called me Mighty Mouse because I was the littlest guy in the gym. Everybody else was older men, teenagers. I was the littlest guy in the gym. So they gave me Mighty Mouse, and it stuck with me until I was like, I think I was in junior high school. As I got out of junior, once I started junior high school, people stopped calling me Mighty Mouse. They just started calling me Mighty. And it just trended from there.
Was your father, so your father was your first trainer? How far?
My father was always my trainer.
Your whole career?
Basically my whole career, but me and him had a mishap in 96. When I, well, 96, yeah, because I fought for the title in late 96. And early 96, like around February, somewhere around there, me and my dad got into a little dispute, and I got rid of him. I think in my career, and people that know me, really, I think that was the baddest decision of my life. I mean, I make a lot of decisions now because I have a company and stuff like that. I'm the boss. But I think back then, I think that's the worst decision I ever made, getting rid of my dad, because my career kind of was on a seesaw level. I mean, so I won some, I lost some, I got in a good position with the Gatti fights, I made money and stuff like that. But I think if I'd have kept my dad my whole career, I think I would have had a pretty further and longer career than what I had.
What happened specifically once your father stopped training you?
I think I got a little big-headed. I was to the point, I didn't really start tasting money, but I was in the line of that, because when I got rid of my dad, I was just getting ready to fight for the IBF world title. I fought a kid named Philip Holiday from South Africa. He was a tailor-made fight, and my promotion company, which was Main Events, they never really ever put me in a bad fight. And I think any fight and every fight they put me in, I should have won, or I just should have won. And a lot of times I didn't win because I didn't train properly or other things was going on. But they always put me into a fight where I could win. I think I was just, I had the wrong game plan. I didn't stick to the game plan like I should have. My dad wasn't there with me. I think that was something that was weighing on me too. And it just didn't happen for me. But it turned out to have a great performance. It was one of the best fights at that time on HBO. Me and Philip Holiday threw, I think, a boxing record of punches in that fight. So it escalated me to get to where I needed to be.
Was your father the person on your team that normally came up with the game plan for you?
Yeah, my dad always had the game plan. It's just like, you being on a football team or basketball team, you got that coach that always has that game plan that makes things better for you. And my dad was just that guy.
So in the amateurs, you fought against De La Hoya in the amateurs. Tell us a little bit about that matchup.
It was a great fight. I had lost the year before that, and like I said, my dad was my trainer even through my amateur career up until I fought my first world championship fight. My dad wasn't there, but my dad always had a game plan. He knew me. I was his son. He knew everything about me. He knew my mistakes. He knew what I needed to do to get ready. He always got me the right boxing for the fight. I had lost the Oscar. No, you talking about the Golden Glove. So there wasn't no game plan then. We just went out there and we trained right. We won the Mid-Atlantic here in Philadelphia. Then we went and won the states and PA. And then I was on my way to the Nationals. And we fought everybody out there. We beat everybody. We didn't even know who Oscar was. We just knew we was fighting him. And we went out there and we fought him. It was a close fight. I thought I pulled it out. I thought I did everything I was supposed to pull it out. My teammate at that time, my national coaches were Barry Stump and Maurice Frazier. And that was a perfect team right there. And like I said, we went out there. We didn't really have a game plan. I just knew what I needed to do to win, and I could always adapt. And I thought I adapted enough to win. But who knew right then at that time that Oscar was the Golden Boy, is what they called him, and they was putting him on a pedestal to where they were trying to make this kid actually a great kid. So we lost. My dad seen it. It was on TV. It was live. Everybody, I got a lot of phone calls that day telling me I won. People at home was telling me I won. And I think that was the first time I really got a big, how can I say, I don't want to say ovation, but I got a big audience from Philly. Everybody was loving me. Everybody really knew who I was, but they actually seen what I could do because it was on live TV. And we was getting ready for the, back then it was called the ABF, which is really called the Mid-Atlantic now. We was getting ready for that, and we went out there, and of course, I was determined to beat any and everybody who stood in my way, which I did. But then again came Oscar, and this time it was a lot more clearer than it was the first fight that I beat him. But of course, we didn't get the decision. That was another loss. And, I had to take that for what it was. Then we went back to the gym again. My dad, of course, I love him to death, came up with another game plan for the fight. And it seemed like each game plan he came up with was the right game plan, but we just couldn't get it right with the judges. And it was the last fight that me and him ever had. And it was on USA Networks, just when they first started showing TV. And it was for the Pan American Games. And me and Oscar fought each other, and I just tremendously beat this kid at that time. This was the first time I actually, in my mind, knew that I beat him in the ring, because when I was hitting him, I was hurting him, and I could hear him scream every time I hit him. But of course, like I said, he was the Golden Boy at the time. Everybody loved him. He was a good fighter, but he wasn't better than me. But he got the decision, and he went on, but he moved up in weight. He moved to 132, and I was the king at 125. And the whole year before that, everybody kept saying that it was possibly, no, my fault. There were 2 gold medals that was going to be in the Olympics, and it was supposed to be me and Oscar. But I lost to a kid from the Navy named Julian Willer. He didn't beat me. Everybody know he didn't beat me, but he beat me, and he went to the Olympics. He lost to a kid from Russia that I just beat 6 months ago, knocked out. He lost to him. But, I guess that's the way the chip bounces.
Did you see anything special in Oscar in those 2 fights you had with him, like the left hook that he's known for?
Yeah, he had a great left hook. His hook wasn't as powerful as it was in the professional rankings, but he had a great left hook. He always was the same Oscar that I known from the amateurs. I don't know what particularly made him such a golden boy, but you know, he definitely was that guy that everybody was thinking of making, that was going to make a lot of money, and he did. You know, at one time I held a grudge with him, but I understand that this is boxing, it's just how it is. So, you know, he went on to win a gold medal. I was pissed off about it because I should have been right there. I know I would have won a gold medal. At least I would have got a silver. Nothing less than a silver I would have got if I would have went to the 92 Olympics. But he went, you know, he won the gold medal. And after he came out, he turned pro, but I turned pro before he did, you know, and my career started off great, you know, and I love the fact that I had a great career. I had some great fights, fought some great fighters, been around the world. You know, there's nothing else I can say. I just wish I could have made as much money as he did, but hey, I'm cool. I'm fortunate to have a great career and to make money, but you know, I'm not as rich as him, but that don't matter. I'm here, I'm living.
I hear that, brother. Did you seek to get retribution in the pros against Oscar De La Hoya? Were there any talks of you two fighting each other?
You know, that's crazy because he won a gold medal. I turned pro before him. It was like at the time when he turned pro and I turned pro, he was like #1 and I was like #2. We was looking forward to fighting each other. I was actually looking forward to fighting him in the pros. He offered me a fight somewhere like in '93. I can't remember the actual date, but it was in '93. He offered me a fight. He offered me a fight for $50,000, and I told him that wasn't enough money. Well, actually, I didn't tell him enough. I knew it wasn't enough, but my manager told him it wasn't enough, and they told us that we either take it or leave it, and we said we wasn't going to take it. He messed around and gave Jesse James Lehigh the money, and he knocked Jesse James Lehigh out. But I know Jesse James Lehigh was on his downcline at that time. I don't think he needed no money because Jesse James Lehigh is a great champion. You know, he done beat Azuma Nelson, done won the world title a couple times. So I know he wasn't really lacking for no money. I guess he just fought him for whatever. And he beat Jesse James Lehigh, and of course he went on to, you know, go to bigger and greater things. And I just went on to fight not as big names as he did, but I was right there along with him. I had a great career.
How was it working with main events in the Duvas? Because you were there when the legendary Lou Duva was around. How was it working with him?
Like I said, it wasn't really too much of a problem. I think honestly, I think my dad and Lou had an argument way before we turned pro because I think the Duvas were really interested in signing me at the time, and my dad didn't want to sign with him. My dad was the type of guy that once he give you his word, it is what it is. And he had talked to my manager, Eddie Woods. I mean, Eddie Woods came to see me when I was like 13 years old. He always used to come to my mom and dad's house, drink coffee, come to all my amateur fights here locally. I think he even came to one international fight that I had. Can't remember which one it was. So I guess him and my dad grew a bond. And he evidently, the bond was real tight with him and my dad gave him his word. So I guess when we decided to turn pro, he was the first guy that we went to, you know, to make the decision to turn pro. And he, you know, he kept his word. He did what he had to do. I signed with him and a lady that you may not remember or you may know, but it was a lady named Kathleen Nicolosi. She was the founder of Mother's Cheesecake Factory in Burlington, New Jersey. Big company. It was like worth $2 or $3 million at the time. She signed on with my manager, and they both signed me. And we was just with main events far as promotional wise. Far as management wise, nah. But promotional wise, they did me well, man. We fought on the Evander Holyfield card. They sent me to camp with Pernell Whitaker a couple times. I was even in camp, it was funny. I was even in camp with Arturo Gatti, but we never sparred. But whoever figured that me and him was gonna fight each other? I didn't. Yeah, whoever thought? I didn't. You know, so, you know, Main Events was a great, powerful company. I think they still are. They still in the business, not as heavy, but they still around. So, I have nothing bad to say about Main Events. Nothing.
How was Lou Duva as a trainer?
And you know, that's kind of crazy because I never was asked that, so I never really had to give my opinion on it. But you asking me, and me being a straight up guy, I'm always going to give my opinion. Even though everybody is entitled to their own opinion, you don't have to like it if you don't want to. But Main Events was a powerful company. But when you talked about training, Georgie Benton was the man. He was the best. I mean, he did all. Look, even though Lou Duva was with him, you had Lou Duva, you had Georgie Benton, you had Ronnie Shields. You know, even though all those guys came later, but the headstone of it all was Georgie Benton, man. He had my man Meldrick Teller, had Mark Breland, he had Evander Holyfield. Look, all those guys are champions. So you know the forte of it is a great communication of a company that runs well. They're powerful. Far as right now, I don't really know where they stand with a lot of the trainers, because I don't owe, and I can't forget Mr. Tommy Brooks, because he trained me too. But yeah, they have a powerful organization. It's a great team. I love them, man. I mean, I wasn't that close with them like Gatti, because Gatti was their boy. But, you know, they were still powerful.
What was it like sparring with Sweet Pea and being in camp with Pernell Whitaker?
Oh, my God. I mean, honestly, I don't need to blow smoke up anybody behind, and I'm definitely not going to do me. But coming out of Philly, I was just the best there was. I mean, I was in the era with Meldrick Teller and Tyrell Biggs and all those guys, and, you know, there are other legends, you know, but still, I was one of the best. And I was in there with Pernell Whitaker, man. Nobody ever put a whooping on me like Pernell did, man. I mean, this guy was just so slick, so phenomenal, man. I mean, you could barely hit this guy, man. You know, I mean, he was just phenomenal, man. I mean, I guess God just gifted Pernell with something that, I don't know, he just didn't gift nobody else with. I mean, this man had hand speed. You couldn't touch him. I don't care how close you was to this guy, you could not touch him. And I had pretty good fast hands, and I know Meldrick did too. I'd never seen him and Meldrick spar each other. And I know they've been in camp a lot. And I know they probably have. And there probably are tapes of them sparring, but it hasn't been leaked. But, man, Pernell was something phenomenal.
So what do you think made him so hard to hit?
I mean, he just had that sixth sense, man. He knew when you was ready to throw a certain punch at him, he wasn't there. When you thought he was there, he wasn't. When you did hit him, you had to be lucky and fortunate to hit him. And them times when I fought him, he was still young. So he was still loose, fluid, could move. It was just so many things about this guy, man. I remember when he fought, and I talk about it all the time. I don't know why this is stuck in my head, but I remember when he fought Roger Mayweather, man. Yeah. That was crazy, dog. He actually pulled this man's shorts down and hit him. Who does that? Who can do that? Pernell. You know, so it was great, man. It was good being in camp with him. He taught me a lot. And then actually with him was my first camp. I actually went to him with my first camp when I was getting ready for the Philip Holiday fight. I was in camp with Pernell Whitaker, Arturo Gatti, Robbie Pinner, and David Tua.
That's a hell of a camp.
That's a hell of a camp. A hell of a camp.
What'd you think of the Pernell Whitaker De La Hoya fight?
I was in camp with Pernell for that fight. And I mean, honestly, I was trying to figure out, and I still figure out to this day, like, I love the fact that Pernell, because when me and Pernell first sparred in camp, when I was getting ready for the Philip Holiday fight, I never forget it, the first day we sparred. And the week before that, I had came down, but I didn't train. I just was down there to see. He sparred, I can't remember, he sparred a kid from Dallas, Texas, man. He beat this kid so bad, man. Well, he wasn't a kid. He was a young man. He had to be like 23, 24. Man, he beat this kid so bad, man. He had this kid crying. They asked the kid, did he want to stay or did he want to leave? And the whole thing that really made me know that this camp was a professional camp was that they told the kid he could stay or he can go home. If he decided to go home, they was still going to give him the money that they was going to pay him to be there the whole time, and he still had like another 4 weeks. They gave him the money and sent him home. And then I had to spar Pernell the next week, and he spanked me. I ain't cry, but he spanked me. I had a real bad day. I was really upset. And I'll never forget, God rest his soul, Bob Waring came over to me and said, look, Ivan, he said, Pernell does this to a lot of guys. He said, look, we'll send you home, and we'll send you home with your pay, or you want to stay. And I swear to God, I'll never forget. I said, Bob Warren, what's my name? He like, your name Ivan Robinson. I said, where am I from? He said, Philly. I said, we don't go home, dog. We don't do stuff like this. I mean, I take an ass whooping from the best fighter in the world. You think I'm going to go home? No, I'm staying. So I stayed the next day, man. I put something on Pete, man. They was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah. They was like, okay. From that day on, Pernell called me kid. He always called me kid. So camps was great. The camp with De La Hoya, I didn't understand why they wanted to use me, because I wasn't a power puncher. I was a guy that threw a lot of combinations and punches. So they wanted me to make sure that Pernell was still on the slip game and still knew how to get out of the way of punches, man. First 2 weeks, it wasn't no problem at all. Pernell was at what he was supposed to be at, you know. All his movements, his slipping and slide, his counter punches, all that. I actually thought Pernell beat Oscar. I really did. But he didn't get it. But, you know, it was what it was. Man, I love Pernell, man. That's my man.
So would you say he got a gift in that fight, De La Hoya?
When he lost?
No, yeah, when he lost to Pernell, would you say he got a gift?
Yeah, I think Oscar got a gift. Oscar got a gift in a couple fights, but you know, it is what it is.
So you mentioned Mildred Taylor earlier, and yourself, 2 Philly guys with quick hands. What's the secret to that hand speed?
I think you just got to be born with it. I mean, you know, because a lot of people that I train now ask me the same thing, like, Coach, man, your hands was quick, man. Can you give me the recipe for it? I can't give you no recipe for it. Quick hands, you just got to have fast hands. I mean, you can't develop no fast hands. I mean, you can work on it, speed drills, stuff like that, but there's nothing really that you can do about hand speed, man. You got to actually have hand speed. I mean, no disrespect, I love Mildred, but I still think my hands was faster than Mildred, because I threw accurate punches, I placed my punches. You know, Mildred just threw his hand speed because it was like he had to get out of trouble. I put my hand speed together because I was actually trying to hit you. So, you know, that's the difference. It's going to always be comparison between me and Mildred. But I guess that's just how the fight game is, and I love it, man. I'm from the city of Philadelphia, and I just love it, man. It is what it is.
Did you train special, like, shadow box with weights or anything you can give the fans?
No, actually, I don't. But it's crazy. I got a kid now that's a junior welterweight named Juan Rivera. He's gonna be something to record with. He's from Puerto Rico. He's 3-0. He's a power puncher. He's a southpaw too. He punches pretty hard. And he asked me the same thing. And I had a fighter like 4 years ago named Thomas. He used to swim a lot, stay in great shape. And he told me one time, he said, Coach, you know what I learned that's real good for me? I said, what? He said, I train underwater. So what you mean? Because I don't like to swim. So he's like, I train underwater. I said, what you mean you train? He said, I get up under the water at the bottom of the pool and I work out. I said, what you mean? He said, I shadow box. Who holds their breath underwater that long? Evidently he does. So he says that helps him. So I told my kid Juan, I told him, I said, when you go to the pool, man, because he like to swim too, I said, get under the water and just shadow box. See what the hell. Because I know also with weights, you know, weights is heavy, they slow you down. You know, they get you into the punchman. I let my guys work with them for like a round or two, and then after that, I tell them to take them off and then shadow box. And a lot of times, their hands are a lot quicker. They throw shots a lot faster on the miss, stuff like that. I don't know if that's a remedy. Don't get me wrong. I don't know, but you know, anything that works, that helps you in a fight, you got to try to do it. Just don't be dirty with it. That's all.
Did you lift weights at all during your career to bulk up muscle? Nothing?
Nah, I ain't do. My dad didn't believe in that. And even though me and my dad wasn't together after, I think it might have been 20 fights, I still stuck with the regimen that he portrayed in me, because that's all I knew how to do was what he did. I mean, the other trainer that I had, Odell, that took his spot when my dad left, him and my dad worked together for so many years. So it was nothing no new, nothing different. It ain't like I had to change my whole format, because I didn't. I never was going to be a puncher. I was never going to be a Chavez. I was never going to be a Mike Tyson. I never was going to be a Julian Jackson that knock you out with one shot. That wasn't me. I was known for throwing punches and bunches, as they say, combinations. I mean, I could run off a 20-punch combination in less than 30 seconds. That's just what it was. I mean, it's crazy to talk about, and that you asked me this, because nobody else ever asked me this. But that's what I did.
Well, I noticed with your punches too in your hand speed versus Mildred Taylor, you fully turn your punches over.
That's what I'm saying.
But Mildred would keep them and not turn them over
Right.
sometime and run off
Right.
the combos.
That's what my dad always used to tell me. He used to say, when you punch, break your punches, turn your punches. He always used to tell me that all the time, and that's what he had me doing. So that's what I try to have my fighters doing a lot too. But you know, it is what it is, and that's just how I train them and teach them too. Pretty much, a lot of my dad is still invested in me, so I teach a lot of my fighters what my dad taught me. And the best thing about it now is that me and my dad we joined at the hip right now, so we work a lot. Actually, he'll be here in a few minutes working with a kid that I manage, that he trained. So you know, we still in the field of boxing together. We still do things together. I still go over his house, talk to him, watch fights. He still pound me in the head about what I should have did in this fight or that fight. I'm like, Dad, that's like 30 years ago. But you know, I look at those things because I can bring those things to my fighters nowadays.
I think it's a beautiful thing that you and your father are still close.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about father-son boxing combinations? Because a lot of them, well, most of them always break up. Shane Mosley and his father, Roy Jones and his father, most of them break up. What do you think about them, and do you recommend them for fighters coming up?
Well, I mean, there's so many attributes when it comes to that, because you figure if your dad trained you because you believe in him, and nothing is going to compare to a father-son, just like a father and daughter relationship. I'm not going to want my son to get hurt if this is what he does. Just like I know my dad didn't want me to get hurt when he was training me. I don't care who I sparred, how big they were, how smart I was. My dad was always pounding me about defense. My dad, and that's one thing I specify too. That's something that a lot of these fighters don't have nowadays. These fighters don't have no defense. That's why you have a lot of guys walking around not knowing their name, can't count money, don't know who you are. Because I know you done talk to a lot of fighters and they sitting there like, you know what I'm saying? To a point, I'm no different than another fighter, because I was just telling my fighters the other day, like, I be sitting in the house and I can just doze off. And I can get a picture of me and Gatti. I can get a picture of Gatti hit me with that left hook in that 10th round. You know, I don't know if that's being punchy or that's just, you know, having flashbacks. I don't know what it is. But the thing of it is that I'm really proud of, and I thank God for, is that I could talk to you. I can talk to my family.
You don't seem punchy at all.
No, I can talk to my kids. You know what I'm saying? I can talk to my girl. I definitely can train all my fighters. I know the days of the week, you know, so, you know, it is what it is. But the father-son relationship, it could be a great thing. It could really be a great thing. But then again, it could be a bad thing, because you know as well as I do, after a certain amount of time, we become big-headed. We don't want to know. We don't want to hear jack. Look, you done been telling me this for 30 years. All right, man, give me a break now. Let me continue to do what I do. I've been doing this just as long as you've been teaching it to me. So, you know, those are things that happen. But it's hard to say. It could be a great thing. It could be a bad thing. I'm happy that Sean Porter and his dad seems to be doing great things amongst each other. And hopefully that trends to making father-son relationships better, you know, because God knows when I first had my son, I was trying to figure out the whole time my wife was having him. I'm sitting there trying to figure out the whole time, like, I don't want my son to box. What can I get into? What can I get into? What can I get? And I messed around, and right before she had him, the day before she had, I went out to the store and got a basketball. Bought the basketball bat. When he was born, I gave him that ball. Ever since then, he never put that ball down.
He's still playing basketball? He's
still playing ball. He just finished his last year at Cabrini College.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, you know.
Congrats, brother.
Thank you.
Congrats. Has he ever tried boxing like Dad, I want to go into family business?
None. Nope, not at all.
No, he got quick hands too. He got a quick crossover.
He got a quick crossover, and he got pretty good hands, yeah. He averaged like 2 or 3 steals a game, so, you know, it could be better. But, hey, who am I? I'm a boxing coach, champion, whatever you want to call me. I don't know too much about basketball. I love it. Yeah, I love it, but, you know, I can't teach you much. I let the coaches do that.
So you had 2 legendary matchups with Arturo Gatti. Tell me about your first fight with Arturo Gatti.
The first Arturo Gatti fight, it was crazy. We had just came off a fight in Philly, and we got cut. And I never forget it. When I got cut, we was looking for another fight, but I had got cut, and my cut man, Leon Tabs, had said I would put butterflies on it, so it can stay closed, it won't reopen. So we was looking for a date. We didn't have a date. We was looking for a date. So I never forget it. I just had got finished training. I went to go pick up my wife and my son and my daughter, and we was getting ready. I think we get ready to head down Atlantic City, and I got a call from my manager, and my manager said, "Remember, I don't turn down no fights." He had called me. He said, "Look," he said, "I got a fight for you." I said, "Okay." I said, "What fight for you?" He said, "How would you like to fight Shane Mosley?" I said, "Shane Mosley, the IBF champion?" He like, "Yeah." All right, let's go. So I didn't go down to Atlantic City. I went home, got ready, came to the gym. Remind you, I still had that butterfly stitching over my eye to keep my eye closed. So what we did, we was ready for Shane. Because we had just fought like a week and a half ago. So we got in the gym, started training. They got me some type of mask headgear to protect the cut. But what happened, the headgear, I got hit up top in the headgear, and the headgear slid the band-aids off, and it reopened the cut. So we had to pull out the Shane Mosley fight. But I tell a lot of people just don't. I ought to beat Shane Mosley. I know at that time Shane Mosley was the best lightweight in the world, but at that time I was peaking and I was really ready. So the fight didn't happen. So now I'm mad. I'm crying. I'm upset. Nobody can say anything to me. I don't want to hear nothing. My manager calls me, says, "I got another fight day for you." I said, "Well, the cut is open, and there's no way we can fight." He said, "We're gonna fight." He said, "What about Arturo Gatti?" Thunder? Yeah. Let me call you back. I said, my wife's name was Tanya. I said, "Tanya, you know who they want me to fight?" She was like, "Who?" I said, "Arturo Gatti." She was like, "He a killer." I said, "No, he ain't." I said, "Just because you said that, all right, cool." Called my manager back like, "Yo, let's take the fight." My manager called Main Events. They made the fight. Press conference in New York. Everything was good. The fight was signed. Had a big press conference. Everything was good. But I had one problem. In the Arturo Gatti fight. He had said to the reporters that you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. So my right hand man, which was Rennie Carter, as me, my manager, and Rennie get in the car to go back to Philly, I asked my man, I'm like, "Yo, what did Arturo Gatti mean by knife to gunfight?" He was like, "Yo, he meant you that stupid." I said, "No." I said, "I just don't understand." He said, "Man, you hit like a punk." He was like, "You ain't got nothing but knives, and he got the bigger weapons." I was like, "All right, cool." I like, no problem. That's all I kept thinking about the whole time in camp. As people could see off the tape, I was still mad. I was still upset about it. I took that to heart. So when we was getting ready to go out to the to the ring for the fight. Now the whole time in camp, we trained 6 weeks for the fight. The whole time, all I did was just had guys that come at me like Arturo who could punch, this, that, and other. And I trained with Mike Melvin and Anthony Thompson. All I did was just box, just box. Because I know Gatti can't deal with a boxer. So all I did was just box the whole camp. But I was still mad at the fact that what he said at the press conference that was like 6 weeks ago. After that, we was walking to the entrance of the ring, and we had a little entrance, a gateway, where you can go out to the gateway. I told my whole camp, I said, "You know what?" I said, "Our fight game just went right out the window." He's like, "What you talking about, Ivan?" I said, "Man, I'm going to beat this guy up, man. I'm going right out there. I'm going to get right in his chest, and we're going to fight." He's like, "No, don't do it." Like, whatever. And I ran out to the ring. That's the last time that we talked about anything prior to the fight. Man, I went out to that fight. It was like, in order for him to win that fight that night, he was going to have to kill me. And that's what he almost did in the 10th round. But that whole fight, man, all I thought about was just getting. It was a respect fight. It wasn't about making it a fight of the year or do no rounds of the year. All I knew was just that going there and beat this guy up, man. This guy was going to kill me to win this fight. And that's what I did, man. Whoever thought it would be fight of the year, you know, whoever thought that I would have had round of the year, whoever thought it would have been an upset of the year. I didn't think about all that. None of that even managed to me. All I wanted to do was just win. And then after I won, it was like I had to sit there and think when I got in my dressing room. I closed the door. I had nobody in the dressing room. And I just sat there and I cried. I was like, damn, I just actually beat the #1 guy in the world. You know how amazing and really stupid that was? I mean, it was just like my world just flashed in front of me. You know, I was just all I knew was when I opened the door and everybody came in, it was just like, well, I had a whole new world. Man, after I took a shower, got dressed, I waited for everybody to leave. It was just my wife, the kids, my right-hand man, my manager, his wife, and a couple other people, man. We was walking down the boardwalk because we fought at the convention center, but I think we stayed in Bally's. I think it was Bally's, because that's my favorite casino now. I think it was Bally's we stayed in. Man, we walking down the boardwalk to go back to the hotel. I got Gary Shaw. I got Lou DiBella. I got all HBO. Everybody calling me as I'm walking down the boardwalk with my wife and the kids, like, Ivan, come here, Ivan. I'm sitting there like, why is everybody calling? Yo, man, that was the fight of the year, man. You don't know what type of record breakings y'all fought on HBO, man. Yo, we got to do a second fight. I'm like, dog, all I want to do is just go home and chill. Me and my wife was supposed to go to Miami, I think in like 2 days. Man, they must have called me all night in the hotel. Back then, we had the little pocket cell phone that you put in the cigarette lighter and sit on the side. They called my phone all the way back to Jersey. Kept calling me, calling my manager. My manager calling me like, Ivan, they talking about you and Gatti got to have a second fight. I'm like, dog, I just was in the fight of my life. Then it died. And y'all talking about another fight already? Man, let me go home and get some rest. So my manager was like, all right, turn your phone off, whatever. And anybody want to talk to you, I'll talk to him. He kept calling my phone because he had my house number. I was, at that time, you know, you had a house phone. I get in the house, he studied calling me. It's 4 or 5. I'm like, Ed, the kid's trying to sleep, dog. Yo, man, we got to do this Gatti 2 fight. I'm like, dog, are they telling you that they're going to give us a whole lot? Man, you just don't know, man. We got to do this second Gatti fight. I'm like, all right, well, just let me get some rest, and I'll let you know in the morning. My wife's like, oh, I guess we ain't going away. I'm like, why? She's like, because I know you're going to take that second Gatti fight. I was like, nah, I'm not taking it. I ain't had no choice. I had to take that second Gatti fight. But I think they underestimated me from the first one, because what Gatti did, I knew Gatti used to blow up after every fight. So evidently, we fought at 35. I knew he already had came in about 10 pounds heavier because the way he was punching, he could really punch. And even when he was punching at that time, he had to put on about 10, 15 pounds. But it was okay because it didn't matter. He was going to have to kill me.
You mean after the weigh-in? After
the weigh-in, yeah, oh yeah. So, you know, they was calling me saying, we got to do this fight, this, that, and that. I was like, no. Then my manager and Lou DiBella went back and forth, Gary Shaw. Then I just said, look, man, let's just make the fight. But what I think they underestimated me was they thought I was going to sit around and wait. But what you had to understand, I had just fought Gatti. We fought Saturday night, so I was Sunday. The next day, I was already home in bed. They thought I was gonna probably just say, "No, we're gonna win." Man, I got up that Sunday morning when I made the final decision to fight him. I got up that Sunday morning. I went back to camp. I went right back to camp, and I got ready, man. And really, the second fight was easier than the first fight.
Now, when you say you couldn't turn down the second fight, did they offer you a significant amount of money?
Yes, and a lot of money that that. A kid like me and my statue, living in North Philly, my mom and dad wasn't rich, but I was good. I never wanted for anything. So of course, for that type of money, yeah, they boosted up. It was more money than I ever would have thought that I would have made, which I made more after that. But yeah. And we
just your biggest payday?
Yeah, Gatti fight, yeah, my big payday. But I stabbed some amount of money after the Gatti fight. It wasn't like the Gatti fight, but it was good money. Money that probably other fighters would have never seen.
So you said the second fight was easier. How so and why?
The first fight was hard because of simple fact, for two reasons. One, it was about winning. Mm-hmm. Two, it was about respect. You know, and what was crazy about it, even though me and Gatti grew a relationship before we fought each other, I still never looked at him as being an ignorant guy or a disrespectful guy. I just looked at it as for it being selling tickets. And it didn't really need to be selling tickets for Gatti, because honestly, at that time in the late 90s, Gatti was from Jersey City. I mean, he had no disrespect, he had every mob boss there was. Every mob boss that I seen on TV was at his fight. You know what I'm saying? I seen all of them, the pussies and all of them that was in the movies. I seen every which one of them.
Oh, like
so,
the Sopranos?
The Sopranos and those guys, yeah. You know, at that time, the Sopranos was hot. Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, after the fight, after the first fight, it was me, Gatti, I can't remember, I just call him Pussy, Tony, Allen Iverson, Aaron McKee, Jason Williams,
Big Pussy from the actual Sopranos.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Tony, I can't remember his last name, but Tony.
Gandolfino.
Yeah, he was there. Excuse me. He was there. Allen Iverson came through. Me and Aaron McKee went to school together, and at that time, Allen Iverson and Aaron McKee were teammates for the Sixers. So Aaron bought Iverson, so it was crazy. Jason Williams from the Jersey Nets came through. I mean, we was just actually in the bar together. I was in the bar with all these guys, man, chilling with all these guys. It was just phenomenal, man. It was good. It was crazy.
Gatti was with you too?
Yeah, Gatti sat right beside me, man. We talked. But at that time, who would have known that we was getting ready to fight again? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. Maybe he said he wanted a rematch, but he didn't tell me that. He didn't say anything to me. I didn't find out until later on, because we must have left the gambling place like 3, 4 in the morning. So at that time, they were still lurking around waiting for me to come out. But Gatti never said anything to me about it. But man, it was just crazy. That was a crazy scene. I mean, crazy. I don't think I ever been in anything like that before.
How is Arturo Gatti as a person? I met him a couple of times in Atlantic City after his fight with Mickey Ward's. Sweetheart of a guy. He was cool as hell. How did you know Arturo Gatti?
Well, it was crazy. Like I said, me and Gatti met each other from the first. Me and Gatti met each other from the first camp with Pernell. We went out a couple of times to eat. We was on the beach then, because the first time that I met Pernell, I met Gatti with David Tua and Robbie Pena. We was in Virginia Beach, Virginia, down in Sweet Pea hometown. And at that time, Sweet Pea was the king of Virginia. So it was like nowhere Sweet Pea didn't go, or me and Gatti didn't go, we didn't get the luxury of Pernell. So it was like wherever we went was Pernell hometown. So me and Gatti hung out a couple times down there. And then it was crazy. I had met Gatti way before that when he fought Tracy Patterson. I fought a kid named Julian something. He was like 18-2 with like 13 knockouts. He was my biggest test. I wasn't supposed to beat him, but I beat the crap out of him. And Gatti defended his title against Tracy Patterson. So I met him briefly there, but we got tight after the Pernell Whitaker trip. When we was in camp together, we got real tight. We talked, we went out, we hung out together, and we just talked. It was like I sparred Pernell 6 rounds, then he came in, he sparred Pernell for 6 rounds. Then the next day I went into, I got out, he came in too, I went back in. Then, that's just how it was. But whoever would have thought that we would have actually fought each other, So, that's how business is, I guess, and boxing, So, I guess I would tell fighters to take a page out of my book. If it's a guy that you're sparring in the gym, just unfortunately think about later on down the line, this may be a guy you may actually fight.
That's very true. After Arturo lost to Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones said, and I quote, he said, if Ivan Robinson give you problems, Floyd Mayweather's going to be too much for you. What do you think about that?
Oh, I definitely, you know, like I said, boxing is a great sport. I don't want to call it a game because I think people get the wrong interpretation about boxing. Like you always hear fights say, "Oh, I can play box." No, you can't play box, dog. Boxing is not a play game. Boxing is a serious game. You can't play box. You got to really do it. And I really commend Floyd to a point, but then again, I don't justify it because, like Roy said, if Gatti had problems with me, what makes you think he wouldn't have problems with Floyd? And then at the same time, Floyd said he's the best ever, which I understand. That's my dad. Which I understand. But Floyd fought Gatti when he was beat. I mean, I just beat him. I beat the crap out of him. Then Floyd turned around and fight him. I mean, you couldn't have picked a handicap more than Gatti. You know what I'm saying? My thing was this: after I beat Gatti, and I got a team that'll tell you, after I beat Gatti, I asked to fight Floyd. Floyd didn't turn me down. His uncle turned me down. Roger turned me down.
Did he give you a reason why he turned you down?
Yeah, we not fighting nobody from Philly. I mean, I guess that is kind of true. You don't want to fight nobody from Philly because we just tough, man. We just is what it is, you know.
So Roger said, quote, end quote, we not fighting nobody from Philly.
We're not fighting nobody from Philly.
Wow. And this, around what time period did you call out Floyd?
This had to be like around, I fought Gatti in 98. This had to be like around 99, 2000, right around that time, somewhere around there. Because he fought Floyd, what, 2000? No, he fought him later than that.
It was later than that.
He fought him later than that, yeah, much later than that. Gatti was pretty much not done, but he was done. Because he lost to me. Then he beat somebody else, and then he lost to somebody. So he was pretty much done.
Well, he was known to blow up after fights and even come in heavy at weigh-ins.
He fought Joey Gamache. Yeah, he fought Joey Gamache after he fought me. He shouldn't have never fought Joey Gamache.
What do you think about that fight? Because Joey says he got on the scale, got off, sipped some water, so he didn't have to get back on, and that he was like pretty much a middleweight when they fought. Probably
so. I can believe you. I can believe Gatti was probably about a middleweight when he fought him. Because it's just even crazy that what weight did they fight at? 47? That was kind of big for Gatti anyway. Gatti was never really, I mean, like, rumors have it that I was told when he fought me the first fight, after he fought me, I think they had to take him to the hospital and get IVs and all that stuff inside of him, the building back up. I mean, I heard he done that a couple times. So, you know, it's all treats his own, you know what I'm saying? Gatti was a lovable guy, man. Everybody loved him. He fought his ass off when he fought. You never had to worry about Gatti being in a bad fight. The only thing is that if you was a Gatti fan, you never knew what, you always knew what to expect from him. You just didn't know when. Like, it could be the 10th round. And you can be like, man, Gatti losing this fight. And you can get up to be like, I'm going home. And you turn your back and he catches the joker with a left hook and the fight is over. That's just the type of guy he was. And I think that's why we loved him. Because like, who said it the best? I think Larry Merchant said it the best. He was like the human highlight reel. He just had a whole lot of highlights, you know. And, you know, I loved him for that. He was a great dude. And I still say to this day, and I say on camera, his wife killed him. His wife killed Gatti. She killed Gatti. Gatti didn't, even though I know Gatti had a problem for drinking and stuff like that, and he, you know, we don't know what goes on outside our homes and stuff like that, but Gatti never had a bone in his body to kill nobody. Now, maybe in the ring, as far as killing, I would say he wanted to demolish people, but outside the ring, man, you couldn't find a bone in this man's body that would say he would kill a joker. He wouldn't do it. He'd walk away from him. He'll walk away. You would smack him first before he smack you. That's the type of guy he was.
Actually, a friend of mine has a story where they got into a confrontation, said Gatti was so nice to him and diffused it and brought the guy a drink to stop him from fighting.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Gatti was just that dude, dog. Just that dude. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, after we fought this first grueling hard fight, I mean, the guy got bandages here and the bandaged hair, you know, up under his eye and over top of his eye from the cuts and everything in the fight. I mean, me and this guy sitting right next to each other having drinks. Right across from us, you got AI, you got Aaron McKee, you got Jay Will, you know what I'm saying? Then you got the guys from The Sopranos. And you talking about him trying to kill somebody? I think he would probably call somebody first and have him killed before he do it. He just wasn't that guy, man. And I was highly, highly, highly upset over that, man. I really was.
Yeah, that was a tough situation. Cause
very bad situation.
No one I've known that ever encountered him thought he did it.
Nobody. That's a hurt piece, man. It really is. Really is. And then for him to die like he died, and then for his family not to have none of his earnings, his money, his name, his legacy, that's not good. That's not cool at all. Not cool at all. And I can't remember who taped me or talked to me about it, but I tell you, like I told him, if I was near, I'd probably kill him myself. That's crazy, man. The man was a genuine guy, man. Take his shirt off and give you his shirt off his back. That's the type of guy he was.
What were the camps like in those days, the main event camps? Because y'all had some killers down there. Y'all had Nate Campbell, Ivan Robinson, Gotti. Y'all had some serious killers in those camps. What was it like?
Man, it's just crazy that like nowadays Facebook is I'm kind of happy with Facebook, because Facebook gets you to reach out to the people that you like. Like, for instance, your man Nate Campbell. Whoever would have thought that I would see Nate Campbell in Philly again, man. And he would actually come through to a fight and we'd be sitting together just busting it up. Facebook did that. Thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? That's like camp. That's how camps was, man. Main events used to put out so much money, man. Like, when we was in Virginia, me and Gatti would walk into a store, a restaurant. I didn't know the cook. I didn't know the waitress. I didn't know the bell person. I didn't know them people. They knew me. They took care of us. You know what I'm saying? They treated us like we were actually what we were going to be, stars. You know, and to some point you love that. You know, but it is really not about that. It was just really about the respect. You in another man's hometown and you getting all this love like this. I mean, no matter where main events did camps at, man, we never had to worry about money. We never had to worry about eating. We never had to worry about having stuff to wear. We never had to worry about anything when it came to training. It was already set. I don't know if other camps are like that or if they do those things, but I never had to worry about that. Like when I got ready for the Gatti fight, main event sent me all this money to go to camp, to actually set my camp up outside of Philly. You know what I'm saying? To live for 6 weeks for the fight. To pay my food. You know what I'm saying? To go wherever I wanted to go. To have all my training stuff to train, you know, for camp. You know, so, you know, the main events, man, at that time, they was, you know, one of the top echelons promotional companies there was. And, you know, besides Top Rank, you know, I've dealt with Bob Arum when I fought Chavez, and Bob Arum was a good dude, you know, although I have heard many stories about Bob Arum, but, you know, I can't say too many things about too many promoters, because when it came to promotional companies, them helping me or them doing things for me to get ready for fights, I never had to worry about that, because I was always taken care of, you know.
How competitive was the camps? Because you had some, like, everybody there held a title at one time or another, pretty much.
I think it was just about who you were, doing the things that you needed to do, and actually, like you said, it was like, how can I say it? It was like you being put in position, because like when I went to camp with Pernell, David Tour wasn't on my level because he was a heavyweight. But I had a guy like Robbie Pena who fought at 135, Arturo Gatti fought at 135, and then I had Pernell who was 147. So basically, Pernell and Arturo Gatti was like this at the time, because they were trained by the same guy from the same team, and plus they was with main event. So I was promoted by main events, but I wasn't trained by their trainers. So it was basically, when I went to their camps, I didn't have my dad with me. I went there just to see who was in camp and to train. So they bringing me in like, well, we know Ivan Robinson good, but how good is he? Let's see what he do against Pernell. Because like I said, I never sparred Gatti. But I guess the first day when they seen that Pernell put that whooping on me, they was like, man, this is just another kid, you know, come down here, whatever. But I was from the same era with Meldrick, and I came from the same same city as Meldrick, just a couple blocks. So they sitting here like, well, this kid must be a bust because he's from Philly. But the second, third, fourth day, fifth day, the whole week in camp, whole 6 weeks in camp, they looked at me like, yeah, this kid's something special. So, you know, camp is like any other camp, you know, being put in camp, see if you can make the team, seeing if it was a bust for them put their money out for you. So I think I lived up to the expectations, and you know, like I said, I had a great ride with main events, would never take nothing away from main events. They got in my career great. I'm just sorry that certain fights they put me in that I know that they thought that I was going to overcome, and I didn't, but it happened. Like I said, I take nothing from main events. I love them dearly, you know.
Talk to me about your fight with Chavez.
Chavez, it was a great fight. It was a great camp. I actually brought my dad back with me. And that shows you that at the end of the day, like when me and you talked earlier, when you talk about a father-son situation, to some point, your father always gonna know you because he had you. He knew you from when you was a puppy, as they say, to a grown dog. You know, my dad knew all my ins and outs. My dad knew what it took for me to get ready for Chavez. And I think it was like pretty much God saying that I'm bringing y'all two back together. I want to see how y'all work. What happened was I was in camp with Don Turner. We was at Don Turner camp out in North Carolina. And we was out there in the desert, oh my God, for like 6 weeks, man. That was the worst. But I was in camp with... I can't even remember too much who I was in camp with. But I know I was in the camp with a bunch of young guys that really was starting their career. And I got into a feud with a young kid in camp. He heard about me, talking about I was on my last leg and this, that, and other, and so on, so on. So I wasn't prepared to start boxing just yet. My dad told me to wait another week. But of course, still, whatever my dad say to me or tell me, even though I'm older, I'm still going to do. He said to me and the kid was going through it. And Don Turner came out of his room and was like, look, y'all two got a beef. Y'all two need to settle it in the ring. So my dad was like, well, Ivan not going to spar for another week. But Don was like, Ivan and his kid they've been going through it for a week. I don't know if I can have this for another week. So I need them to spar. So my dad was like, look, all right, go ahead and spar. He was like, I think you're in perfectly good shape. Go ahead and spar. The first 2 rounds, man, it was just like, it was lopsided. I was beating the mess out of the kid, doing whatever I wanted to do to the kid, teaching the kid that he wasn't who he thought he was. And I was who I thought I was and who I was supposed to be. But what happened was my mouthpiece, I had a little cheap mouthpiece. And, you know, I was boxing the kid and I was talking to him at the same time. And he hit me in the mouth with a right hand, and I had a little baby mouthpiece, and it split my gum and my lip was busted. So, like I said, I listened to whatever my dad said. So my dad told me 2 things, and the Chavez fight was like a comeback fight to really see where I needed to be. So he said, either you got 2 choices: either we stay here at camp and you can't box for the next 4 weeks, or either we go home and we can't go on. So you know me, I'm a warrior. I'm like, look, all right, Dad, we're gonna stay in camp. We just not gonna box for 4 weeks. That was the worst thing ever, because I didn't have no boxing. I didn't have the reflex that I needed. It was hard. I was getting up every morning, running, training, no sparring, watching these other guys spar, knowing I wanted to get in there because my mouth was messed up. But my dad had told me that my mouth would heal, but I needed the time, and we had the time because of the fight. And we took it. And I'll never forget, somebody told Chavez that the fight was going to be easy with me. Even though Chavez said that he watched tapes of my fights and he didn't think it was going to be that easy. Now remind you, I didn't box in 4 weeks. I haven't boxed in 4 weeks for this fight. First of all, we was going into a hostile fight. We fought at the convention center, you know, and that's like right next door to Mexico. You know, man, Chavez had everybody and probably and his mom there. You know, as we enter in the ring to the fight, we coming out from under the tunnel to go to the ring. Man, they throwing beer cans, they throwing beer cups, they throwing beer down at us. And I never forget, I turned around and I asked my dad, I said, Dad, if we win this fight, how are we going to get out of here? I mean, they love Chavez. I think when I fought Chavez, he was like 108 wins with like 88 knockouts. So, you know, that was a real good, that was a great fight. And it was pretty much a respect fight. So what it was, I think that I went in there with too much respect for Chavez. I mean, I fought him like I was supposed to fight him, but a lot of people that seen the fight said that I didn't really step on the pedal like I was supposed to. They said they don't think I would have got him out of there, but they thought I could have beat him up more than what I did. And to some point, I think so too. But like I said, it was a lot. I had a lot of respect for Chavez, man. I seen this guy fighting since I was like 15 years old. At this time now, I'm like 35. So you know, this man done been around the world like 500 times and back. He done fought Frankie Randall. He done fought Oscar De La Hoya. He done fought Pernell Whitaker. He done fought so many people, man, that I could imagine me just being in the ring with this guy. But it was a great fight. I think he put me down in like the 4th round, but that was because, like I said, my dad is just, you know, he's a genius. And he kept telling me the whole time in camp without no boxer, Ivan, you keep dropping your right hand. You can't drop your right hand with Chavez. You can't do it. And I kept doing it. He said, don't do it. And he said, I kept pulling out. And I'm doing it and pulling out because I was getting away with it. So I thought it was good. But he caught me, I think, like I said, either in that 4th or 6th round. I was really off balance, but it was a good shot. He caught me with a left hook and he put me down. But I wasn't hurt. You know, I got up. I finished the round. If I can remember, I think I even had him in the corner. I was hitting him with like 6 or 8 piece combinations. So it wasn't a real big blow that I thought that was going to put me away for the fight, because I continued to fight. I actually, people ask me who hit me the hardest, and I always say Arturo Gatti, because I fought Gatti at the prime of my career, and he fought me at the prime of his career. But then again, it's hard to say because Chavez hit me with that left hook, his signature shot, and it hurt me. But, you know, like I said, I was older. You know what I'm saying? It was just a great fight.
Last question. Tell me about the Philly fight scene. Why are there so many great fighters from Philadelphia, man? What are y'all doing out here? And man, I mean, this goes back to the 60s, 70s, 50s. When George been? The 40s, 50s? Mm-hmm. This goes back to the 40s and 50s to even today. Man, look, I can't tell you nothing too much about the George G. Benton days, but I gotta start with the Joe Frazier. And you know the left hook, man. You already know, dog. That left hook, ain't no doubt. I'm not gonna say I had it, because I don't think I did. I think I threw a pretty good left hook, and I still think I do. But that's what it is, man. And I don't know, man. Philly is just, well, I think we back to being the capital of boxing, dog. I really think so. So, I just love it, man. The city is an attribute. We get a lot of great champions come out of here. It's not just where I'm from, North Philly. You got North Philly, South Philly, West Philly, Northeast, Mount Airy. You know, the city is big, man. And the city is getting ready to do big things. You know, I don't know when you're going to air this, but it was just a big fight last night with Tevin Farmer, you know, Gabriel Rosado, and Hammer and Hank Lundy. You know, they 3 good prime fighters on the card. You know, Hammer and Hank Lundy did his thing. Sorry about Gabriel Rosado for, I think, the 3rd time. You know what I'm saying? But he put up, excuse my expression, hell of a fight. You know, Hammer and Hank Lundy, even though he lost, man, we just trying to do it, man. And hopefully right now in 2019 is the start of a new era with Philly, man. We're going to get back to being what we used to be.